Welcome back everybody to Retro Dando. Today is a video I've been wanting to make for a little while. This is based on my favourite front end, and my favourite front end is Beacon. To get Beacon, head over to the Play Store and just search for Beacon. Not Beacon. Beacon is not what you want to search for. You want to search for Beacon. And there it is, Beacon game launcher. It's a couple of pounds. It's well worth the money, I do have to say. So once that's downloaded, you can open it up. And it doesn't look like you have any platforms yet. No, because I only just set it up. So the first thing you're going to do though is open up the settings. And you want to go into scraping. So this is the important thing here. So there's a couple of different variations, so we'll go through those in a minute, but this is the important bit to set up first. So you want to go to screenscraper.fr and create an account. They usually have the best box art that exists on the internet, but also Beacon uses a 2:3 aspect ratio. What they are is basically fan generated images, and I'll show you those in just a second, but they're important to get on here. So in terms of preferences, you can change your color scheme. You can have amber, I usually have blank. You can have waves, so it's a bit like a PlayStation theme. That's kind of what I go for. But there's lots of different things. You can have waves, you can have rain, PlayStation. That's quite a cool one. So you have PlayStation icons floating around the screen. So if you have a PlayStation dedicated handheld, so it's just PlayStation, PS2, Vita, and PSP, this could be quite a good background to have. I'm just going to stick with waves because that's my favorite. You can have gallery view, grid view, list, bubbles. Again, I use grid because it just makes it look a bit more like a Steam Deck. You can change the font to whatever you like to have it to. So I like Roboto. That's just a personal preference thing. Home menu is enable the bottom bar. So that's the bar that you see at the bottom. You can have enable now, which is the games that you've currently playing or favorites that you set. You can play menu sounds. I turn those off, but it's easy to think. You can swap A, B, X, and Y, so it's a different way around, or you can have PlayStation buttons that show up. So you can kind of make this a cool PlayStation dedicated handheld if you really wanted to. The other things are a little bit irrelevant. So with Steam Grid DB, it's a little bit more complicated, so you have to sign up for an account, and I'll show you here. So you sign up for an account, so head over to steamgriddb.com and then you'll be able to set up an account on there, and it just basically links it to your Steam account. So to get your API key that you'll be asked for when you log in, you essentially head on to your profile, hit preferences, and then if you go along here, I won't click on it because everyone will see my key, but if you click the API key, it will essentially show your API key. You copy that over, you paste it into Beacon, and then you'll be able to get all of your files the same as what I'm going to do here. Okay, what's also great with Beacon is if you hit the B button, it opens up all your apps. So you can access any of your apps that you want to access. They're all on this thing. So you can use this as a dedicated home screen, which is what I tend to do. Anyway, let's start adding some systems. So we're going to open this up. Platform type, what should we go for? I think we should start with one of my favorites, which is Game Boy Advance. The player app we're going to use, you can choose anything from here. There's plenty here. You can kind of choose whatever you want to choose. So for GBA, what we use is RetroArch. And the core that we use is MGBA. There it is, so that's fine. The ROM folder. So we're going to head over to ROMs, GBA, use this folder, done. We can either go with, I'm going to show you two versions now. What we'll do with GBA is I'll show you the standard box art. So GBA uses 1:1 aspect ratio. We're going to add the platform here. So we're going to enable the notifications for the sync process. That just means in your notifications bar, it'll tell you that it's basically syncing up. There's GBA. If you give it a couple of seconds, it'll go through all of your ROMs and it'll scrape the box art. While it's doing that, we will add another. So we'll head over to the settings page, platforms, we'll add a new platform, and now we'll do something else. Let's do PlayStation 1. PlayStation, RetroArch. The core that I use is Swan Station. There it is. The ROM folder is going to be ROMs and PSX. Use this folder, allow. And we're not going to choose one by one this time. What we're going to choose is Steam Grid DB. Okay, we're going to add that there. We're going to add platform. But what we're quickly going to do is do preferences. We're going to go scraping, and we're going to put Steam Grid DB at the top. So that means it'll use Steam Grid DB over everything else first. So you can see that my GBA ROMs are populating nicely in there. But if we move over to PSX, what we might have to do actually, because it's populating them in Steam Grid DB. So we're going to head over here quickly, scraping, and we're going to turn off We're going to turn off Screen Scraper. I'm going to head back. If you don't like those kind of box art that they have, like GBA is going fine. So GBA looks great. Again, not all of them are in there because some of them don't have box arts and whatever. So you can either have it like this. What I'll show you now is if you turn off Screen Scraper and just have Screen Grid on there. Let's add a new platform. And we'll go platform type. And what we'll do, we'll just add some Android games. So what Android games have got? We've got Limbo, we've got Diablo Immortal, we've got Halls of Torment, we've got Horizon Chase, we've got Minecraft, we've got this one, Stardew Valley, Streets of Rage, Vampire Survivors, blah, 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 blah. Quite a few games on there, so let's add them all in. And we want them to be in the Steam Grid DB format. So we'll add that platform. And now if we head back now, we can see that Android's been added. They'll just be circles for the moment, but as you can see, it'll get populated by the Steam Grid DB platform. So we'll wait a couple of minutes for all that to be sorted, and I'll show you what you can do. So as you can see, PSX there has been populated with the game files. So, and it's the wrong aspect ratio. Easy to change. Head over into settings, edit PlayStation. And we're going to go for the box art that they are. You can see PSX is 1:1, SNES is 4:3, blah, blah, blah. So save. As we go back, look, it'll be in the correct aspect ratio there. So while Android is populating there, we'll just leave that go for a couple of minutes and we'll just add a couple of more. All those are in there. So if you wanted to change one, it's quite easy. So let's see if Pokemon Lazarus has got an actual file. Let's let these auto-populate. And then we'll move on from there. Android should be done now. And we can see that there are some ones that have not been scraped fully. And it's usually because the name is wrong or whatever it might be. So we'll move on to that in a second. So Stardew Valley. That's a nice image. But I'd prefer a different one. So what you're going to do is you're going to press and hold. And then you're going to hit edit. And then you're going to change scrape box art, and it's going to give you lots of different options from Steam Grid DB. So there's lots of community options. You know, you can even upload your own files if you really, really want to. I really like the classic style of Stardew Valley because it's nearly the spring here. So what I'll do, I'll click that, I click yes, head back, and as you can see, the image has changed. So Beacon is very, very customizable. ESDE is a great launcher, but for me personally, I much prefer the customizability of Beacon. So Minecraft, I don't like that image. Let's go for classic Minecraft. And there you go, that's done. So this one here is Diablo Immortal, but it's put it down as Immortal Defense. So it's just got a bit confused when it's been filling in the information. So what we're going to do is we're going to type in Diablo Immortal. We're going to save, and then we're going to head back over to Diablo Immortal, and we're going to scrape the box out and see what they find. There you go. It's picked up the correct game now, and you can see all those are in there. And I like this fiery guy, so we're going to use him. It's the same for this one. It's down as Sky, and it's called I think the game is called Sky Children, something like that. So we'll save that and we'll see if it finds anything this time. There you go. And there's the game files there. That's a lovely one. We'll choose that one. And there we are. So again, sometimes, like this one here, it's scraped Link to the Past and the Four Swords, but that's not the game. So it's just Link to the Past on the SNES. So what we're going to do is we're going to save, and then we're going to go back down, and we're going to edit, and then we're going to scrape the box art, and then it's going to give us lots of different versions. I like the classic version, the golden one, so that's what we're going to go with there. Done. This is a super versatile app, really, really easy to use. You know, again, this one, Real Monsters, hasn't come up, but you can see there that likely it's just missed the exclamation marks. So if we just put those in, we're going to save, and we're going to go back in, and we're going to edit, and we're going to scrape the box art. There you go. Done. There it is. Save. So what we're going to do here, we're going to head over into platforms, and we're going to turn off Screen Grid DB, and we're going to see if there's any box arts for those. Doesn't look like there is for that one. No. So Screen Scraper has let us down on that point. So, okay, what we're going to do, we're going to add the gamesdb.net and see if they've got any game files. Let's go Good Boy Galaxy. Okay, so there is a box art. It's not the box art that I want, but it has one. The same for Pokemon Lazarus. That's there, and you can see how quick it loads. Super quick, super speedy. Pokemon Heart and Soul. There it is, done. And there's all the game library. If there are any games that you do like, you can press and hold, add them to favorites. And then let's do Final Fantasy 9, add to favorites. Let's choose an Android game, add to favorites. And now if you go over into favorites, you can see all the files are there. If they're in that 3:2 aspect ratio, they'll be squished down into this little square, or you can do it in reverse. So if I head over to settings, preferences, how do I want my files to be? I want them to be Steam Grid DB. We head back there, and it's the same thing, apart from these two are kind of stretched out. What you can do is edit them, scrape the box art, and we're going to scrape it to the box art that was on there. The same with Final Fantasy 9. The issue is, if you change it in the favorites, as you will notice, it'll change in the main box art. That's why I try and keep one or the other. I either do the game boxes or I do Screen Grid DB. But to be honest, with Beacon, I just tend to use the Steam Grid DB because, let's be honest, it just looks fantastic. It's so customizable. So if you wanted to set it as your home launcher, you head over into apps, you click the settings button, you hit the apps, Beacon, home app, quick step, or you can select Beacon. So now every time that you turn on your device, it'll load straight into Beacon and you can play around with wherever you want. So one final advanced tip that I would suggest is you can make custom files. I like to do combine things, and I'll show you what I'm going to do now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do custom, and I'm going to create Sega, Dreamcast, and Sega Saturn. Short name, then I'm going to do DC / Sega Saturn. Okay. The player app, thankfully, they both use RetroArch, so it's not so bad. The core, I'm just going to do Flycast for now. ROM folder. We're going to head into the ROM folders. We're going to select Dreamcast. Yes. And then what we're going to do is add another folder. We're going to go back and we're going to do Sega Saturn. Done. aspect ratio, Steam Grid DB, our platform. Now you can see you've created your own one with Dreamcast and Sega Saturn, and all your game files are in there. And then what you do is, say for example, there was a game that didn't launch with Flycast for whatever reason, it was on the Sega Saturn or what have you. Okay, so what you'll do is, I think Daytona USA is the Sega Saturn version. What you do is you hold it, you click edit, and then what you do is you head to the bottom and use platform settings, and then you just change it. So you change it to RetroArch, and then you do your core, and then we do Yaba, and there's Yaba Shanshiro, and then the game will launch in the Yaba Shanshiro core. And one final one, say like me, you have some games that are maybe Wii and Wii U, for perfect example. They are, for me, part of the same kind of like generation, and I don't have many games of them, but I want to keep them separate from GameCube, for example. I would create a platform, custom, let's just call it Wii, just for an example, and then short name Wii /U, player app. So this is a big trick. I just use Beacon. It says the apps won't work, but that's not really relevant for the moment. I do need to head over to my SD card, I think. No, it's not the SD card, it's on my actual platform. Arms. I don't have any Wii U. I'll just show you this as an example. So we'll use Wii U. Okay. What we're doing is we're going to add another folder, and we're going to add Nintendo Switch. Okay. And look, I know they're not the same thing, but just bear with me. Okay. Because you could create a Nintendo version, and all the Nintendo games are there. It's, you know, it's that flexible. So we'll do Steam Grid DB, and we'll press Add Platform. And we can see there, even though these aren't the same files, they are whatever else it might be. They're Wii U games and then Switch games. Like, you can do kind of whatever you want to do with this. So again, when you know it's a Switch game, you press and hold, you click Edit, you head to the bottom, Platform, we're going to use Eden instead, and press Save. That's all we're going to do. And there's a Super Mario Bros. Wii game. We're going to click and hold, we're going to click Edit, we're going to go down to, we're going to find Dolphin emulator, save. So now when we want to launch Ball X Pit, it'll launch into the Switch emulator, and when we want to use Super Mario Bros. Wii, it'll open up Dolphin. It's that simple. Should we try and launch again? Let's launch into Good Boy Galaxy. You open up there, it'll open up RetroArch, and you can see there it's loaded me straight into RetroArch and straight into Good Boy Galaxy. Close that out, and you can see these are populated now. They're all on here. You can see that's Dreamcast, and that's fine. Sega Rally Championship, again, we just do Edit, head to the bottom. We're going to go, RetroArch is so far down, RetroArch, Yaba Shanshiro, save, and there it is. You can see it all opens absolutely fine. So that loaded into Yaba Shanshiro, and if you head over back into here, and we go into, say for example, Skies of Arcadia, it loads up the Dreamcast, and there it is. All working absolutely fine. So there we go, guys. I hope you really enjoyed that. I know it was a bit of a long one, but hopefully it'll get you used to how good that beacon can be, and I fully recommend that you download it and give it a go and just customize to your heart's intent. There's so many things you can play around with it, so many little tricks. It's a great little app, I should say. Great little app. Anyway, this has been a long one, so I'm going to leave it here, but thanks for joining, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Cheers, dudes.